Welcome back again to the Leicester City Women's Wrap-Up Show. We're back already with another video, but this is a really fun week, so I'm excited about this one today. Like usual, I have James with me. How are you today, James?
Yeah, not bad. Seems 5 minutes since we did the last interview, so really looking forward to this one. I know that we've been trying to get Amy on for a while.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this one. We've got Amy from This Fangirl with us. How are you today, Amy?
I'm great, thank you. How are you guys?
Good, thank you. I'm so glad that you were available at a later time for me, and it's not 2 a.m. for once.
My goodness, is that what you usually do? 2 a.m. starters?
Yeah.
That is dedication right there.
I mean, anything for the game. I'm sure you know. So you're a huge outlet for supporters of women's football and like female supporters specifically of football in general with This Fangirl. So can you just kind of tell us a bit about what This Fangirl is and like what it aims for?
Yeah, absolutely. So This Fangirl, we call it an online platform powered by and for female football fans. It was created because it was created in 2016 and football's really moved on so far in the last 5 years that we've been working on it. It really is kind of almost unrecognizable, like where we started to what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So we started in 2016, as I said, and it was almost like we set it up to address the representation issue of female football fans. Because back then it felt like every single time you sort of said to someone that you were a football fan, you'd be automatically greeted with the response of, "Oh, you're not a real fan. Okay, well, if you're a fan, then prove to me who won the cup title in 1972." And it's just like, well, I wasn't alive then. But it's this constant need to prove yourself, to validate yourself. And we realized that maybe part of that was because the representation of the fans just wasn't super visible. Mm-hmm. So we took loads of female football fans from around the country, which was basically our first year of This Fangirl. And since then, it's kind of evolved into a platform. So we have a community element. We do lots of meetups. We've done like maybe 30-40 meetups in London, Manchester, Paris, New York, where women just come together, women who love football, just want to watch it with other people, don't want to have to feel like they need to prove themselves, make mates, literally all that good stuff, and watch football together. Last couple of years, we've been really lucky to do some incredible brand work. So with the big guys at like Adidas and Nike, but then also with like some great clubs, brilliant charities. And I guess like the main underlying, I said this the other day and I was like, oh, it's taken me 5 years to actually solidify it into one little line. And I'm not going to do it now. Basically, the aim of This Fangirl is to ensure that all women can enjoy football in all the ways that they want to, and basically really extend how they love the game. Not quite a sentence that I was, but I hope you got the message.
Oh, I mean, you've been doing a great job. I've been following your guys' work, and the whole concept of like taking images of female football fans to change like that stereotype of when you Google a female football fan, like those images are, some of them don't even look real. Like, it's just all set up and it's to like kind of portray what you expect a woman to look like. And you guys have like changed that so much, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it has been really incredible to see. And you're so right. That's exactly what we noticed when we started. It was just this, I think also the fact that it was around a major tournament. So it was the Euros 2016 that we started. And you always notice, you get like this bombardment of articles like the sexiest female fan at the game. Just like me and Laura, who set it up at the time, we were like, we do not look like these women. We are never going to look like these women. So what, like, do we not have a place in football? It just didn't feel right. And it's like, I've been going to football since I was 10 years old. It was always been a big part of my life, but I always felt a little bit of an outsider, maybe because I was a woman. I never thought I could totally get into it, and we wanted to, I guess, just play with that a little bit and just see how far we could push it.
And do you find that since 2016, it's like shifted from what you guys have done?
Pardon me, I've got a really bad cough today. Sorry, I sound like I've smoked a pack of 20. Yeah, it is shifted like insanely. I think by no means do I think like it was just because of This Fangirl. Not at all. Mm-hmm. I think what really sort of moved it quite quickly was, bear in mind, like, again, that 2016 period, it was remember the Me Too movement. That was really on the top of people's minds, and just the way that we're talking about women in all spaces. There's been a real shift since then, a real gear change. But then everyone from brand level to broadcast media have just been a little bit more aware of how they're talking about women. And you see now, like 5 years ago, a panel of all white men would just be very much the norm, whereas now they are getting female fans and female fans of colour, which is super important, because obviously we set this fangirl and we're white women, we absolutely don't speak for women of colour and their experiences. So yeah, we have noticed huge move-ons, which has been really great.
Yeah, and like even thinking about the media, we saw yesterday that Alex Scott is now taking over Dan Walker's position on BBC, and that's massive. Like a woman of color, like this is something we would have not seen, like you said before. It would have been a panel of white men, and now we're seeing this shift.
100%, it's incredible. And I think like Alex Scott is just doing like, I can't even imagine what her schedule must have looked like for the last 5 years. That woman is always working. She has got to that position just purely on merit. She's an incredible pundit. She knows the game inside out, and she's just likable, right? People love her. So yeah, she's doing incredible things. But there's loads of women all over, like Jess Creighton on Sky. I think just seeing that now and at this moment in time, and just feels exciting. They just like there's a different point of view, and that sort of, I don't know, that old school guard of football broadcast seems to be slightly coming out of fashion, I guess, which is great.
Yeah, and I think that's the right way to go, if I'm perfectly honest. We've had various guests on our channel recently when we've been talking, obviously, about Leicester City women and how well they're doing, and how the pandemic's caused issues for them with trying to get girls into academies, etc., to start the footballing journey. Have you managed to have any events with the fans over the pandemic, or has it been difficult?
Yeah, we have. I mean, it's very difficult because I think also like I think we did our first meet-up, like the first game that was played after the initial lockdown. So I can't remember what it was. I think it was Man City Liverpool, maybe. I think it was that game. And we had like 30 people come to that. But then like every single person in the world, Zoom fatigue kind of hit in, and people just can't, people struggle to stomach it unless it's like something that they are absolutely like dead committed to. It can just be difficult, and there's just so much going on, and just basically survival mode for so many of us, right? We've done a couple of meetups which have been really fun. We've basically just launched at the start of this year these things called Drop In and Chat. So it's every first Monday of every month where you can just come, bring your tea, bring a glass of wine, and just talk about football together with a group of women, and just sort of have a rant or a rave about about how your team's doing, what you wish they wouldn't have done at the weekend, what you want them to do next weekend, then make some predictions. So that's always really fun. I think that's basically. Oh, we did actually, you know what? We actually did a couple of weeks ago. I need to get all the assets sorted for that. We did a sew along where we turned football shirts into a makeup pouch. So that's just some of the random stuff we do on this fangirl.
You have like a tutorial for that? I'm like low on makeup pouches, and I can't afford to buy new ones.
Do you know what? That's one thing I need to do this week. Actually, turn that into a tutorial. So yeah,
that's genius, though. Yeah, I would have never thought of that.
It was really, really fun. Yeah, no, I'll send you the tutorial when we've got it all sorted.
And do you guys have any type of plans for like when, I don't want to say when COVID ends, because I feel like we've been saying that since last year.
Yeah.
But when COVID ends, do you guys have any big plans or?
Honestly, I think it's just about keeping it simple. Like, I think sometimes I can overcomplicate things and just try and do like the most and completely run myself into the ground. I think people just honestly just want to watch the football again with people they know and love, and probably in a pub, in a beer garden somewhere, and just like get back to it. So I think we're going to do we've got one meetup booked in actually for the first Euros game that people are allowed back, so that it's against Czechoslovakia. Sorry, the Czech Republic. I've said that the wrong way around. So that is the game on the 22nd. So that's one bit meetup. That's in London. Then we've got the girls in Manchester going to watch that at the fan park as well. And then we're just having a chat with like a brand at the minute about doing some cool stuff for the first two Euros games. But fingers crossed, we will be having a different conversation after this Sunday, and there will be some final chat. Who knows? For Leicester City men's.
Yeah, we hope fingers crossed for sure. And then so for like international fans like myself, obviously this whole concept of just having a supporters group of women, even having like supporters groups in general is like not much of a thing here. I've never met another Leicester fan on my side of Canada. So just seeing what you were doing is great. And so for international fans like myself, like what advice do you have for becoming more involved with this fangirl, and how can we kind of contribute to what you guys have going on?
I think the best place to start is join our Facebook chat group. So there's like 600 fans in there. It's a constant conversation, just always rolling about games, about things that are happening outside of the club. That's always been a real hub for us, for people to make friends. Like we've had girls in there like live together after like meeting through the chat. We've found girls who've fallen in love through there. So it's a real place where it's a real like safe space and a really encouraging space. And yeah, I love it. So I would definitely say that join this fangirl chat. Just type that into Facebook. Pardon me. And then I'll accept you and you can come into that. So that's probably the number one way. Second way is just follow us on our channels. So Twitter, Instagram, just keep an eye on what we're doing. And I think I'm really bad at communicating. Like this fangirl, there's so much that I want to do and so much that I wish I could be doing. And I can't do it all. Like there's so much space for people who want to get involved with editorial, who want to get involved with brand stuff, who want to get involved with meetups. If you've got like an idea that you've been thinking of for ages, like just jot it down, send it over. I think that's one thing I really want to try and do this year, just make people aware that it's like it's an open space, as we say, like it is powered by female football fans. So anyone who wants to be a part of it, there is absolutely that place for you.
I think that's great. And I've seen that the work that you're doing, you've worked in collaboration with some of the big clubs. And as a football fan, how does that feel? Because that must be huge.
It's massive. It is insane. Because this year we did some work with Man City, and it's just like, you are one of the biggest clubs in the world, and to think that they like care about what we're doing is huge. So yeah, it's always just brilliant working with big clubs and just being able to engage with their fans. And it's funny because obviously I'm a like Leicester fan to like my back teeth, but it's so lovely actually meeting people who work in the clubs and like meeting their fans as well, and sort of seeing the game through their eyes. It's not easy to do as a fan. It's something you don't really want to do, right, half the time. But this fangirl has enabled me to really enjoy other football and other clubs, which has been lush. So like a girl who is really involved with this fangirl, Harry, she's a Sunderland supporter. We've not had the pleasure yet of working with the club, but through this fangirl and through like sort of being close to him, I feel like Sunderland is my second club. I absolutely adore them. And it's the same with like any time that we've sort of worked with any club in any capacity, you do sort of connect on that sort of level, because it's always you understand a little bit more about them. Like over the summer, did some work with the Arsenal women's team, and I'm like a massive follower. I really love that team. I'm like absolute Viv stan. So I'm always like following her progress, obviously. Like absolute cracking season. So yeah, it's just lovely. It just, as I said, like it just extends how much you can enjoy the game.
I mean, who doesn't love Viv? She's insane. Just I could go on about her for the whole episode. But your point of like just like knowing that the club sees what you do and stuff, like we've been working with Leicester City, and it's like just the fact that they know we exist. Like I can't imagine how that must feel for you, like working directly with them on like these, because I saw you did like a kit launch for Man City. Like that's huge.
Yeah, it was insane. Now I think about it, like, you know, sometimes like when you're working, you're like, you don't actually get a chance to sit back and be like, whoa, that was actually pretty big. Yeah, I really thought about that then. You always like just keep on going, don't you? It was very cool. And I think like the best thing about that, like, as I said, like was just sort of working with some of the fans from City and being able to connect with them. I think it's just clubs and organisations for a really long time just hadn't involved their female fans. They it just hadn't been on their radar. So I think we're in a position, because we are able to connect so many fans and we know so many girls at each of the clubs because of the network, because of the community. We can help there. We can support for clubs.
And obviously on this channel, we are Leicester City supporters, and it's nice to know that you also support Leicester. Our men's team are having a great season. Our women's team are having a phenomenal season. How have you felt as a fan following both sides?
I mean, it has been an odd one, hasn't it? Do you know what? Give me 2 seconds. I'm just plugging in my charger. Oh, sod. Give me 2 seconds, everyone. Right, I need to take my phone case off. I bought a dodgy phone case today. If this works.
New investment and it doesn't even work too well.
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to have to do this really quickly.
No worries.
Come on, here we go. Perfect. Back to business. Yeah, it's been an incredible season, hasn't it, for both clubs? Where do I start? Shall I start with men's first? It has been a really tough one, hasn't it? Just because, like, I feel like this has been one of the best Leicester seasons for a little while in terms of, like, actually how much the squad has developed and how much stronger this squad appeared to me than they have been for years and years and years. And then not being able to be at matches has just been killer. There have been some performances that I would have, like, honestly paid so much money to have gone and seen down at the KP. But I think like the biggest thing for me watching the men this season is, I think for so long I almost, like, often had that nervous feeling. I sort of went into games just feeling really pessimistic. Or for the last couple of seasons, I've had a bit of that. I've sort of let that sort of creep up on me a bit. Whereas this season, I don't have that nervous feeling so much at all, and I really do genuinely believe that we can always win. I feel like we can. There's always a possibility that we are going to turn it around and win this game. Even like the game on Sunday, obviously, like 3-0 down by 46 minutes, and usually I'd be like, oh, well, there's no way, and I was just like, no, we're still in it, and I just feel like it's like, I feel like the confidence across the team and across the, like, maybe the fans and the supporter base, I don't know, maybe you guys think differently. I think that's grown massively, actually. Saying that, I do feel a little bit nervous where we are right now. I don't want last year to sort of replay itself, but hey, I'm trying to keep positive.
I mean, it's been a great season with all the injuries we've had, considering that, like, yeah, keeping up that way.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like, yeah, just sort of people that have come into their own based will have had to do that. Obviously, Kelechi springs to mind, just being able to sort of step up when other players either haven't, have been out for injury or just haven't been performing. I think it feels like they always find a way, which has just been incredible to see. Frustrating at times. I think there's been a couple of performances that have frustrated me slightly, but it's been an absolute cracker of a season. I think, like, the FA Cup run as well has just been another amazing thing to watch unfold. Like, I'm so excited for Sunday. This one I'm actually feeling really nervous for. I've been saying that I'm super confident, but I think this because it actually means a lot, right? This is the first time we've got to the semi-final in however long. How many years is it? It must be 30-40 odd years, right?
Probably probably 50, probably
50. I was gonna say it's not happened in my lifetime. So that's massive. And I just think, yeah, Southampton are a decent side when they pull it out, but I think most people are sort of anticipating Leicester for the win. So I can't even imagine, like, Leicester getting to the final, going to Wembley. It would be absolutely insane. Obviously, just a shame that we're not going to be able to be there. But yeah, it's been a cracker of a season, hasn't it? And then the women's, I don't even know where to start with the women's. Just unreal, like, absolutely unreal. Like, 12 wins on the bounce.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to someone about this, and they were like, you know that, like, Man United, when they came up from the Championship, from the WSL2, when they did it, they didn't even do it with that record. And then it's just like, it almost feels like, again, like, Leicester get a little bit overlooked almost. But what a squad. Like, I was there last weekend actually, as they not they didn't lift the trophy, but as they won that game, and obviously knew they were going to be promoted. It was just amazing just to see that in real life, and yeah, just a massive moment for the club, for the players, for the managers, for everyone in the in the background. Such a testament to incredible effort over the last couple of years, and some brilliant signings, and just hard work, I think.
Yeah, and we always say that, like, what Leicester have done this season, between them joining the King Power ownership and joining Leicester City as an official professionalized side, like, they're a great example of what investment and support does in women's football. So
Yeah,
they came from like finishing 6th last season to being promoted into the WSL, like, and no one was expecting it. Like, I know at the start of the season, Liverpool were the favorites to go back up.
yeah.
But then Leicester just came up, and like you said, they've set the record for longest unbeaten run, and that's just crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so true. And I think, yeah, you're right, with the sort of Leicester City obviously taking them over, and that amazing help. But there's been loads of work going on in the background for years and years and years. And I think it is, it's their time, and like couldn't literally have been timed better. So what now is going to be on Sky and BT from September, broadcasting to our front rooms. It's amazing, and I think like that's just going to have such a big impact. I just think that's going to have such a big impact on the women of Leicester as well, because for so long, like obviously, like everyone knows about the men's team, but I still see comments where people are like, I didn't even know Leicester had a women's team. Like, don't know how people have like missed that. But hey, and I just think like that will have like knock-on effects for girls who are like getting into sport for the first time. So girls who are in primary school are now going to be able to see Leicester City women on, as I said, BBC, Sky every weekend, and have a real visual for opportunity for themselves. And that is just so important to not underestimate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think since we've started to cover the women's side more, we've seen a complete shift in fans as well. I mean, for the first time last week, in one of the group chats I was in, they were talking about whose name to get on the back of the shirt next year, and the men's weren't even mentioned.
Love it.
And I think that is brilliant. And we've spoke to a few of the girls, and I think they're taking that on board. And I think this TV deal is huge for the club as well as the WSL. We see the headlines around Birmingham and the financial troubles they're in, and it will help teams like that, but also help the other teams as well.
Yeah, very true.
So what do you think this means, like, if we're looking like 5 years ahead in time with this whole TV deal? What do you think that means for the world of women's football?
I just think
it's so hard to predict.
It's hard to predict, right? But if you look back 5 years, right, when we started this fan club, women's football was not on our radar at all. I think I probably spoke about it once or twice. It just wasn't visible at all, in even close to what it's like now, in terms of coverage, in terms of any support from brands, in terms of support from any of the clubs. It wasn't a thing. Like, I don't think I could have named you a single player. This is really, really embarrassing what I'm about to say now. So I did a shoot. This was maybe 2017. And it was for like a five-a-side league. And Vivian Miedema, I always get her second. I'm really bad at pronouncing her second name, Miedema. She was there. I didn't know who she was, so I was just sort of like taking photos of her. It's just like, how did I not know? But that's like just I think like that does kind of speak volumes. Like, I was in that year, especially, I was really like involved in that world, and I didn't know who the best scoring player for Arsenal was because it just wasn't visible. So I feel like if you rewind 5 years to where we are now, like such a big shift. So I think with this move, I actually feel like they've managed to close a bit of a gap. There's always this question about like, how are you going to grow the women's game? And the way, I think like most people would say, the way that you do that, you need to get your numbers up, right? You need to increase your fan numbers, which then gets infiltrated into the club. Then that goes back into developing the women's side. And by putting it on TV, you automatically boost the people that are going to watch it. You've literally closed that. You've closed that first problem. you are going to get more fans. So off the back of that, I'm so interested to see where it goes this year, because even if you can convert like, I don't know, like 1% of the watchership or viewership of like the men's game, that is a huge number. If you are able to get those bums in seats in stadiums next year, that is so much more money again that's going into the clubs. I think it's all gonna massive moves from a broadcast perspective. I'm going to be really interested to see what clubs do individually as well, because I think there is a need for clubs to support. The Leicester City are doing an incredible job of supporting, and like lots of other clubs in the WSL. But I'm interested to see what else can be done. Like, how much further can we push that? Again, from brands as well, from like the big global brands, they did an incredible push for the Women's World Cup. There's been a bit of a fall off, so I'm interested to see how that could be pushed up. And I think from a grassroots perspective as well, from a youth angle, or even from women like my age who want to play football, like how far can that be developed? How much money can go into money or support can go into furthering that and just sort of changing it across the board, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And like kind of talking about like those big brands that you mentioned, how like they shift like during the World Cup. Like one thing I really noticed with how they kind of switch things with the women's side is like even looking at Arsenal this past season, like fashion is a huge thing within like football now.
Yeah,
and it's not just about like buying a kit. It's like, how do you style the kit? How can we make this kit look better and stuff? So like James asked me yesterday, like, oh, I wonder if women's sides will start getting their own kits. And if that were to happen, I mean, I take my money. I'm investing for that fashion. And
oh, I'm dying for that. That would be so good. But yeah, you're right. I feel like football and fashion, that's so true. Like over the last couple of years, those things have really collided, and there's a whole sort of space for that now. Mm-hmm. And I think there is this a thing that's sort of being brought in with the women's game, is the fact that so many of the fans, they love football, absolutely adore it, but we also love fashion, and we also love like beauty, and we also love lifestyle, and it's just like there's no reason why those things can't be fused anymore. And I think for brands who are able to see that and able to capitalize on that, they can capture like a brand new market, really.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I mean, I'm buying kits of teams that I don't even support. Like, I'd never buy another Premier League kit, but like I own Barcelona stuff because I'm like, this looks good. I even have like the France training top. Do I train? No. Am I physically active? No, but it looks good. So they know what they're doing.
Do you know what? Like, it's so interesting with that, because I was really like that before. I was just like, why would I ever wear another kit? But then I spoke to a friend of mine, and she was just like, I will wear a kit of any other club as long as they are not my oppressor. So she's a Leicester fan herself, and she was just like, am I going to wear a Nottingham Forest kit? Obviously not. But I have no reason to not wear Ajax. She was just like, the kit's sick. Like, we don't really have a history with them. Like, I respect them as a club. She was just like, and it looks great. So I was just like, that's a really good way. I was like, unless they're an oppressor of the club, I am happy to take that money. I mean, to give them my money.
Yeah. And James and I always talk, like, even with other Leicester fans, like, obviously we're doing better and better each season, and our kits have just been fairly plain in recent years. So moving up next year, like, is that, I always compare it to Arsenal, like the stuff that Adidas and Arsenal are doing with their whole retro range, and all of their clothing is just so nice.
Honestly, do not get me started on this topic. I find it personally disrespectful that we just get off the kit. We get off the shelf kits. Honestly, it's actually one of my biggest bugbears in football at the minute. I just feel like there's so much heritage with Leicester City. Why are we not exploiting that? Why are we not sort of, I don't know, like championing like the amazing stuff, that the successes that Leicester have had like in recent history, you know, or like, just sort of looking at the culture of the city. There's so much to talk about, but we get these crap off the shelf kits that basically you see like recycled, and in some German league as well. Absolute bugbear. I'm dying for us to get some individual kit.
Some fashion, pretty much. I was talking with a Leeds fan, and he was like, it blew me away that you have a maroon kit and we also have a maroon kit, but ours actually has they have like a camo design on it or something. He's like, the fact that us Leeds have a better kit than Leicester,
it's
is
rude.
surprising.
Yeah, it's awful. There's so much opportunity. Like, there's so many designers in Leicester. There's so many like creative people from Leicester. Like, just give them a little bit of a chance. Like, make it a citywide, thing. You just got me thinking. Actually, I feel like I need to write a sternly worded email to someone and then get ignored like usual. I write lots of emails to people and just get completely ignored.
I do.
I think we all do that. I think with regards to kits, I think our contract is just for template kits, like you said. It's just the standard. And one of the most disappointing things is one of our probably best-selling kits over the last few years has been that amazing pink away kit.
Yeah.
And then the next season, Sheffield United have it.
It's a real problem. And I just think, yeah, you're so right. Like, I saw that pink kit everywhere.
Yeah.
And there was obviously at the start of the season, there were people being like, I ain't wearing this. I'm not wearing it. I ain't going down the King Power in this bright pink shirt. And it's just like, it gives you a couple of months. And like, basically I look around my 10 minutes gone on. Look round and basically everyone is in that pink shirt. It just shows that people are willing to stand out a little bit more than they were a few years ago. So I think there's loads that can be done with that.
You can tell that Leicester are starting to like move a bit, but it's like very slowly. Like, we saw the pink, now we're seeing the maroon, and then if that leaked kit of like the mint picnic blanket kit is real, then it's still slowly moving forward. But it's changing. But there's so much that can be done.
There really is. In a way, I actually kind of like that pink, that picnic blanket one. I think it's kind of cool. But if I see that in some like second division German league and realize that Adidas have just templated that kit, I'm going to lose it.
Mm-hmm. That's like the goalkeeper kit. I thought it was unique, but it's the exact same as most keepers in the Bundesliga and in the Premier League. Like,
it's like the conversation we had when the original mint kit was released. Real Madrid have a mint kit, and from what we see from the template, it looks exactly the same. So Adidas just going to give us Real Madrid's mint kit.
So rude. I feel like we need to have a session where we design up some kits and say, look, literally, like, even like, I don't know if either of you have a design background, but I don't have a design background particularly. Even us, like, we can design better kits than these stupid templated ones. There is so much. This is a real, as you can tell, this is a bugbear for me.
I think it is for us. I think you two might not remember the days of Fox Leisure when it was designed by the club and built by the club. I do
remember the days of Fox Leisure. I had a lovely Fox Leisure fleece that I used to rock at primary school. God love it.
So like that was designed in locally. So I think for me personally, they'll probably need to stay with one of the big brands. If they stay with Adidas, the next time the contract's renewed, they should be saying, yes, we'll sign with you, but we want our own kits.
Yeah, definitely. And that's so true, actually. Do you know what? Like Leicester as a city, it's got such a history of like, cool textiles. Obviously, you're going to get this. You're going to have the kits manufactured by Adi, but there is, we've got this design base here. It's just like, why are we not using it? There are so many talented people that could do some cool stuff here. Like connect with the heritage. I don't understand why they're not doing it. It's just a massive oversight.
I know we talk about this for hours. I personally think Leicester City just gets sent a catalogue on what 3 kits do you want from it.
Yeah, I think they do. Oh God, if that's actually what happens, I'm gonna cry.
Sorry, is it just me or is Amy's image frozen?
I think she's frozen, but I can still hear her.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't too worried because we could still hear her, but yeah, like obviously these are just huge things that could be changing and stuff that we could hopefully see over time. Like, we were talking about how with Europa League, the training gear looks great. And then if we get Champions League next season, then I think we can see that moving up a bit more in kits. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, that would be so good, wouldn't it? Because that is a time like where we could be basically announcing ourselves again on the European stage. Like, it would be such a shame to not take the opportunity and do it. And also, I think the thing is, like, actually, like you forget that even in Europe, like, Leicester are a very well-known team still because of what they did in 2016. Like, everyone sort of like looks to Leicester, and you can't help but do anything but like no matter what club you've been brought up supporting, you can't help but have that admiration. It's just like, why not like keep that moving and sort of really hook in those fans again, you know, make it make it everyone's second team. If you can't make it the first.
Every fan that I talk to that doesn't support Leicester, if they don't support a Premier League side, they're like, oh, I'd support Leicester because of their story. And there's so much community. Like me being from Canada, I've noticed that Leicester have like a crazy amount of community within the club. Like the fans are just amazing.
Yeah, definitely. It reaches far, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's some like Leicester fans that you find them everywhere. They always crop up.
We're in small groups, but we're everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely everywhere. We cover every inch of the planet.
You're not wrong there. So I think last part of the interview, we just wanted to know a bit more about you. We asked this for a lot of our guests. So the first question for me, what's your guilty pleasure on Netflix?
Guilty pleasure on Netflix. Oh my God, I have so many. Do you know what? Do you know how many times I've watched Breaking Bad? It is so embarrassing. Like, it's a long series. There is no reason to have watched that more than twice. I honestly think I've watched Breaking Bad about 6 times. Like, from start to finish. So that's my guilty pleasure. It actually just really relaxes me, you know? Like, because I know exactly what's going to happen next. Like, sometimes I just put it on if I'm doing something else. Because it just feels like it's just Walter White talking to me in the background. So that's probably my... If it's not that, then it's Selling Sunset. So they're on 2 very different sort of... different scales. Selling Sunset that's my one. I just basically just that house porn is so beautiful. I'm obsessed with the idea of moving to LA at some point, but I don't think that's going to happen now.
I love all the drama and entertainment in that show too. It's like reality TV mixed with like home TV all in one.
It's so good, and the houses are so buff. So yeah, I want more of that. I can't wait for the next season. So I reckon those 2 would be my guilty pleasures.
Those are good ones. When you said that like Breaking Bad relaxes you, I was like, that doesn't seem like a relaxing show. But now that you've like explained that it's like your background noise, now it makes more sense.
Background noise. Yeah, I love it. I feel like I could probably just say every single word that happens in it. It's not a good testament to me.
Then switching over to music, if we were to hit shuffle on your playlist, what are like 3 of your top songs that'll come up?
I am basically like, I feel like my music taste can be personified with like have you ever been to Manchester, either of you?
Yeah, I lived there for a few years.
Oh, did you? Oh, me too. So basically my music taste is basically Manchester on a Saturday night in the Northern Quarter. So it's like basically party R&B and hip hop. So that is like my absolute shit. Sorry, I just swore. That is like my absolute stuff. I love it so much. So it's like a little bit, it's on the border of cheesy. Okay, so what would come up? Like, I love Chris Brown. Can't even tell you how much I love Chris Brown. Love Kanye West. Love Kalani. Love Cardi B. I love like hype R&B Saturday night songs. That's my stuff.
We're getting quite a variety on this show from that question. Because yesterday with Shannon, when we interviewed Shannon O'Brien from Leicester, she said Justin Bieber. She loves her Justin Bieber. And she finally agreed with me that Coldplay's not so bad. And when we talked to Ashley as well, she was like, Coldplay, Whitney Houston. Like, just now we're getting like so much variety.
Love it. That's the spice of life.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think we should create a playlist of all these songs and put it out.
Oh, yeah. Love that.
Probably the best way.
So you're on a pub crawl. You go into a karaoke bar. What's your song of choice?
Oh my God. Okay, so I've done this on more than a few occasions. Celine Dion, Think Twice. Absolute banger. It's way too hard because it's like, you know, like if you actually want to do good at karaoke, like you should go for like Never Ever All Saints, because it's really like monotonous and it's actually kind of easy to sing on karaoke. Think Twice is not an easy one to do, so you have to be pretty steamo, but that's my one.
You can't do Celine dirty either. You gotta hit all the notes.
You really can't. Me and my friend, like, we used to work together, and he loved Celine Dion as well. So we actually like used to practice it together, because we were like, if we ever have to go to like karaoke like after work, like we need to nail this. So I've got a little bit of practice with that song as well.
You got to get the French accent in there and everything too.
Mhm.
You can't miss that.
Exactly.
I'm surprised you didn't say My Heart Will Go On. I think you're the first person I've heard name a Celine Dion song that is not My Heart Will Go On.
What can I say? That should have been on my on my Spotify playlist. I am a fan. I love Celine. I was going to go and see her in concert a couple of years ago, but I don't think I got tickets in time. She's just, what a voice.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's quite solid that you just admitted that you prep for a night on the karaoke.
And more importantly, it's to Celine Dion.
I love, do you know what, karaoke, I say this all the time, karaoke is like one of my like places where I feel the happiest. Like I have so much fun at karaoke. I was working a couple of years ago, and we were like, I was working for Sony at the time, and we went to, it was the first time I ever went to Tokyo, and we went to a karaoke bar there, just because what else do you do when you're in Tokyo, right? And I was with like 3 of my colleagues. We were in there for 3 hours. One of my colleagues sang one song, the other one sang another. I sang every other one. 2 hours we were in there. Can you imagine how many songs I got through? I was incredibly drunk off the sake, but like I love it so much. I miss karaoke a lot.
Please tell me that you did the full back catalogue of Celine Dion.
I definitely did think twice. I probably did go for a few others. I think I went for a few Michael Jacksons. I really tried to just show off, basically.
I mean, good for you. I would never be able to get up and do karaoke. I would have to have enough drinks in me. But if I'm ever out there, we're all going to karaoke, I think.
Definitely.
I know you'll get me up there, and that's what I need.
I just kind of think, I don't know, like maybe it's just I don't get embarrassed when I'm at the karaoke, because it's just like I know I'm not amazing, but I think this is the thing. If like, what is that phrase that people use when skill doesn't work, hard work? What is that phrase that I'm looking for? Basically,
like hard work pays off or something like that.
Basically, it's like if you don't have the skills, then just put in 100% effort, because then people will appreciate that. So skills, no, don't have them, but effort, I'm gonna put it in, and I feel like that's enough.
I think if we all went on a karaoke night out, I think me and Hannah would have to put some prep work into it.
It sounds like a competition now, yeah.
Needs to happen.
Absolutely. So you mentioned you went to Japan, but if you were to go anywhere in the world, like tomorrow, where would you go?
Oh man,
it's tricky with COVID.
Where would I want to go? I would do anything to be lying on a beach. So maybe I'd go somewhere in the Caribbean. I feel like a nice long flight, beautiful beaches, some delicious food, nice cocktail in my hand. Yeah, it'd be the Caribbean. Maybe I'd go to Grenada.
Caribbean seems to be popular on this channel. Everyone likes the warm places. I like my cold countries. I can't do heat. Okay. No, I cannot do heat.
Really? Oh my god, I'm missing it so much.
I mean, the last one for me. If you could eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh my god, that's so hard. What would it be? God, I should have prepared for that. One meal for the rest of my life. Do you know what? Honestly, this is so basic, but I'd actually say Nando's, just because it's actually got flavour to it. It's healthy, chicken, peas, and then you can like mess with it, right? So then on like Mondays you could have lime and herb, and then by Friday you could get up to extra hot spicy. So at least you've got a little bit of variation. I'm assuming I can have different sauces on every day. So I'll have the same Nando's meal, but will you allow me a different sauce a day?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Nando's then. There we go.
So we just got Nambos here in Canada very recently, like probably a couple years ago. I think I've only been once, but what would you recommend I would go and order if I were to go back? I should. I love chicken.
I literally had a Nando's takeaway last night. So I love the thighs. I love medium thighs. I'm not at the hot level yet. And then I like macho peas. And then I like the garlic bread. And then if you get it as a takeaway, the chips are always rubbish because they always come in there like cold and soggy. So if you're getting it as a takeaway, don't get the chips. If you're at the restaurant, get the chips.
Mhm.
And then Perinaise, which is like basically mayonnaise with a little bit of like sauce in it. And then the olives as well. So you got to go all in. That would be my personal recommendation.
It sounds good, so I'll have to give it a try. Because I think last time I didn't know how to order, so I think I ended up with like a plain chicken, and that was like it.
No. That was not giving you the full Nando's vibes. It's saying that either that, or I would get basically there's this one restaurant in Leicester that's honestly like kept us going through lockdown. It's called Al Najib, and it's opposite the train station. And we've basically ordered curry from there every single Friday since like last March. So we've spent unfathomable amounts of money. I actually think I've spent like, I don't know, like up to about 500 quid there. And then probably more than that actually. Probably like £1,000 or so there in the last year on basically just incredible lamb on and off the bone curry. Just kills it with the beautiful spices. So maybe I'd say Angie, but actually. So either of those, sorry, I just realised I've just given myself 2 options.
They must love you over there for just spending all that money.
It's just basically how long we've been in lockdown for. And it's just like, especially in the early days, like there was nothing else to do, was there? It was like you could barely leave your house. It was like, right, Friday, I'll take our curry takeaway night, and we've sort of kept up that tradition. So yeah, 52 takeaways. It's not good for the gut or the bank balance, to be honest.
Good for local business though, so it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Never mind. We love it.
So obviously on Sunday we have 2 big FA Cup games. We've got the men's side facing Southampton in the FA Cup semi-final, and then the women's side faced Liverpool. So do you have any predictions going into both of those games?
Okay. I think we will win both. I think we'll do both. I think we're going to concede. I think men's, I think we are going to concede. But I think Madders is going to want to get back into our good books, isn't he? Or the manager's good books. I think Kelechi's form is just, it's going to produce another weekend of hopefully the results we need. And fingers crossed. I actually think if we get through this one, then Vardy's going to score in the final, because that's just beautiful, like poeticness. I think it's going to be 2-1 to us this weekend for the men's. I think for the women's, I think we're going to win that as well. I think that might be a bit more decisive. I think that might be a 4-0. I just got a feeling it's going to be goals. Just celebratory. They you know, like they've done it already. So like, I think they're going to be in such good spirits, and yeah, I think it's going to be goal fest.
Hopefully. You're brave. I could never predict stuff like that. James always makes fun of me because I never do predictions.
I just go big.
Go big or go home.
That's it.
James, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No. Same thoughts as Amy. The only thing I will say is I don't think Southampton will be a pushover that people think they're going to be.
No, definitely not.
I watched them the other night against West Brom, and I could see they were pulling out of challenges. So I think they're gearing up to Sunday's game. So I'd probably go with 2-1 as well. I think they'll score, but I think we'll edge it.
Yeah.
And after the women, I could see that 3-4, 5-0.
There we go. Excellent. On the same page.
Hannah won't say anything.
I don't want to be the jinx because it'll come right back at me. I'm a bit scared of Southampton, but I pull it off.
I'm a bit scared, but I'm going in with good energy.
Both sides have nothing to lose, so I think it's going to be a good one.
I think it is. I do think also, like, I know it was very irritating last weekend where we had a few players not playing for stupid reasons, but I do think that is going to be quite helpful in this game, because they are going to want to prove. I think there will be points to be proven now, actually.
Definitely, yeah. It's all disappointing, but I just hope that they make up for it. Yeah,
I think they will. I think they absolutely will. Yeah, exciting weekend ahead.
Definitely a busy weekend. So unfortunately, the women's game is not being shown as of now, like we mentioned in the last episode, but good luck to them. And thank you so much, Amy, for coming on. It's been great hearing about this fangirl and like about yourself personally. I'll go try your Nando's order. I promise. I'll rewatch the video once it's uploaded to know for sure what I'm getting.
Perfect.
So yeah, thanks so much, James. Is there anything you'd like to touch on?
No, just that we'll record another session following our karaoke night out probably.
Get your Celine playlists on. Have a little listen to the back catalogues. All right, guys, nice one. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
See you later. Bye.